Kids are already playing a huge role in environmentalism. I remember even when I was a child, and this is, we're going back some decades now, the environmental movement was heavily investing in schools with the idea of a global citizen narrative, and we had endless David Attenborough documentaries playing in the background. Now, we saw the same use of children within authoritarian political movements. Why is everyone going after the approval of children and conscripting children into these political movements?
Well, that tells you how childish these sort of arguments are, because they are based on opinions of children. The same children that these ruling classes want to reduce in numbers. The point is that some of these kids are being used as Lenin used to describe the useful idiots. And you have even people from the working classes that support this destructive agenda. So it's quite amazing to see how a person can claim to be rebellious and fight against the system, supporting something that it is the main instrument of the ruling classes to bring poverty and misery to the rest of the population and increase the control over them. Because the idea of environmentalism means that everything can be controlled on the basis of this ideology. Environment means everything. Everything's about the environment. So if I were a communist and I realized that the idea has proven to be a disaster, especially after the fall of the Berlin Wall, I would just change my colors. I would cease to be red, I would be green. And I would say that rather than trying to implement communism, I'm trying to implement an environmentalist agenda, which means that I can control every single aspect of a person's life.
I'm only laughing because as you described that, I thought to myself, how on earth would you raise a working class revolution with today's Gen Z? Because they don't work. So you can't exactly fall back on old school communism. You have to come up with something else that's going to be gel better with social media. And there's nothing better than environmentalism, because they've told kids you can be part of the movement of power if you use a hashtag on Twitter. You've done your bit for the environment. And these are the same kids, I've gone way off track now, but these are the kids who don't want to be told what to do. And I'm wondering, Augusto, who's going to tell them the truth about authoritarian movements? Because they're going to be the ones in the gulag, not us.
Yeah, that's right. I have tried to explain in one of my papers that the youth tends to be attracted to collectivist ideas because of the peer pressure. It's not true to say that the youth are necessarily going to support freedom and human rights. Of course, they realize how bad these ideas are when they start to have a job and they start to have to work and pay taxes. And that's when they have a realization that they need to be in control over their lives and over their families. So obviously, they are being used as the foot soldiers for this movement, serving an oppressive regime, an oppressive elite, and really playing the role of the useful idiots in such a case.
Well, environmentalism doesn't only employ child soldiers. Some of its members have been advocating for the outright murder of children by claiming, as you said, that having a child constitutes a form of environmental vandalism and that parents are selfish for using up their carbon credits with the birth of a child.